Danielle Perry, Q Radio.
So welcome to this Muse special for Q Radio. I'm Danielle Perry. Now, from the press release that I got, words like energy, the Beach Boys, 12-bar blues, the 80s, dizziness, stockbrokers, thermodynamics were all used to sum up the new album coming from Muse, The Second Law. Certainly seems like a smorgasbord of activity. The interest and intrigue to this record seems so tense. It's electrifying and exciting. But how would one of the biggest bands on the planet go one further from Black Holes and Revelations and The Resistance? So let's have a look at their CV already. In excess of 15 million album sales worldwide, 5 MTV Europe Awards, 2 Brit Awards, 5 Q Awards, 4 Kerrang Awards, and winner of the Best Rock Album Grammy 2011. Also not forgetting #1 in 19 countries with 2009's The Resistance, and they constantly sell out stadiums and arenas all over the world. I caught up with Dom and Chris from Muse to ask them all about studio concepts, the writing of the album, and how it all felt to sit around and see how the world reacted to such an album trailer.
Danielle Perry.
Q Radio.
So, well, let's start at the beginning then, The Second Law. I mean, it's almost hard to know where to start with this one, isn't it? It's a hybrid of lots and lots of different things.
Right.
And it seems like, I don't know, the world is like with bated breath waiting to hear it as well. So what are you feeling like now? Because it's kind of the gap between people have had a taster, they've had the first single, of course. What's your feeling now before you release it to the world? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you proud? What feelings?
Yeah, well, it's mixed feelings and emotions. Obviously, very kind of like excited, a bit nervous. I mean, we definitely are really, really happy with this album. I think it's a real step forward and a step into lots of different directions that we've never really touched on before, I think, with our band. So yeah, it's kind of this weird, nervous excitement. So lots of different weird emotions. But
hang up at the end.
We're just starting to play live now, so we're kind of rehearsing and figuring out how to play the songs and in a live environment. So kind of excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely, because I'm sure there are so many effects, and I was reading all your PR about it and how you went over to the States, you worked with orchestras out there and these great big horn sections and beautiful strings, and then, of course, with the added sort of influence of the more electronic side and all, new pedals and effects and things like that. It's going to be amazing to see that live, I think. What's the biggest hurdle you think you'll come across with that?
I think... we always find ourselves kind of doing lots of stuff in the studio and using huge orchestras, and this time we've used brass and definitely working with electronics a little bit more, but I think we'll kind of just figure out a way to play it, Maybe we need to tour with an orchestra this time. I don't know. I think we've kind of stepped over that line, so I think we might have to just, have a 50-person entourage of musicians travelling with us or something.
I was going to say, you're turning into Polyphonic Spree, aren't you?
But it's always a challenge when we try and figure out how to play the songs live, but you kind of change things slightly and do slightly different versions of things. And I know we have a keyboard player as well, so we kind of push him to his limits as well with being a bit of a multi-instrumentalist. So yeah, but we're just starting now, but we'll figure it out for sure. But it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You've got some live dates, which I'll go through at the end of the interview as well. But I was going to talk about, you must have all just sat around when you put your album trailer out, which has become a really nice kind of marriage between visuals and music now to give an idea of the latest project, isn't it now? Did you all just sit there and kind of giggle at people's responses to everyone going, oh, they've gone dubstep and all this? Were you all sat around together when that went global?
We might well have been, yeah. I mean, we certainly talked about it and checked out some responses, and it's kind of, I think we've always had this ability to weirdly polarise opinions, even just within our fans, which is great, and I love that because it feels like at least it's kind of provoking some kind of opinion about stuff. But we thought we'd put that track out because it's kind of some of the weirdest music we feel like we've ever made, and also it's kind of talking about the second law and, like you say, some of the themes. It kind of discusses some of the themes, I suppose, within the visuals about the album, and it just it's kind of a bit of a teaser and something we just wanted to chuck out there and see what the fans thought. But it's kind of crazy, yeah, it's kind of funny. I suppose we found it funny that people thought we turned into some electronic dubstep outfit, which is obviously, I don't know whether you've heard any music, but that's not what the album is or sounds like at all.
So that was drummer Dom talking about the album trailer that was released back on the 6th of June and already to date has over 2.5 million views. And here it is.
We've always been inspired by loads of different types of music, you know, and certainly film music and orchestral music and classical music to, you know, just like metal or electronic music. So, yeah, I mean, that trailer track in particular, that is a very kind of filmic quality about it, absolutely. But, yeah, that kind of... yeah, some of those composers like Hans Zimmer, I suppose, yeah, I mean, he's just done some amazing work, like... You know, certainly the Inception soundtrack, that's amazing. Yeah. You know, for a kind of piece of very orchestral film music, it kind of, I don't know, really kind of just holds itself just as, you know, not attached to the film, you know, just when you're listening to it. So it's, yeah, that's really amazing stuff. But, yeah, I think we've kind of slowly been, like, bringing a lot of orchestral and classical things, influences into the band over the years, and I think this time it's probably a bit more predominant on some tracks, but yeah, it just makes it sound kind of big and bombastic, I suppose. Big and bombastic, love it.
And it's going to be, I mean, with the different elements in it that we have seen from what we've been allowed to so far, I mean, maybe that is the way that things would have gone. If, you know, if composers from back then were still writing music now, I mean, why shouldn't people experiment with new sounds and push boundaries? Because otherwise we're going to live in a really boring 3.5 minute singer-songwriter world, aren't we?
Well, yeah, that's why you listen to Top 10 for that, don't you?
Yeah,
you want to
exactly.
listen to that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but I don't know, yeah, you have to, like, well, we feel like we just want to experiment all the time. I mean, we don't feel like we can get anything finished until at least we feel like it's slightly different to something we've done in the past, really. So, yeah, but... And music's there to be explored, isn't it? You know, it's a constant learning and discovery process, I think.
Life's a race, and I'm gonna win. Yes, I'm gonna win. And I'll light the fuse, and I'll never lose. And I choose to survive, whatever it takes. You won't pull ahead, I'll keep up the pace, and I'll reveal my strength to the whole human race. Yes, I am prepared to stay alive. I won't forgive. Vengeance is mine, and I won't give in, because I choose to thrive.
So welcome back to the Muse special on Q Radio. I'm Danielle Perry. You just heard from drummer Dom talking about the concept and the orchestration behind the record, The Second Law, the new album coming very soon. I was then lucky enough to catch up with guitarist Chris and talk about how nice it was to all be based in the same location whilst recording the next album.
Well, it's certainly been the first record since Showbiz that we've all lived in the same place.
Uh-huh.
I think from Showbiz onwards, I kind of stayed in Devon up until about 2 years ago. And, Matt was, here, there and everywhere, and Dom travelled around a bit as well. So, it was nice. It was great to all be in the same place and to have somewhere to go to that was just ours anytime we wanted it. And, there was no mad pressure. We could take our time with it that way. And it wasn't like a big organisation thing to try and get a recording session together. We just go in when we felt like it, which was perfect. You know?
Yeah, because you had a block of time, didn't you? Was it Air Studios, I think you recorded that at, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, we just booked, 6 weeks at a time, and like I said, I think that way we didn't really feel like we were pressured to go in every single day. We kept weekends free so we could spend time with our families.
How nice.
Did sensible hours as well. So I think sometimes when you're in the studio, it's easy to do the 12, 13, 14-hour days sometimes, and we've been there and done that, and you just end up frying your brain and losing all perspective on what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think we were pretty sensible, really. We, obviously wake up in our own beds in the morning and spend time with our families, head to the studio in the afternoon, maybe do 5 or 6 hours, and then, go home and spend the evening with our family. So it was a really nice way to record, and I think everyone was very relaxed, and I think when everybody's at home and you're not missing your family or your kids, it just keeps the mood up,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what happens when you've all had enough for the day? I mean, are you all sat round there? Does one thing happen, or does one person say something, or do you just, each other so well, you just think, that's enough for today, I'm going home?
I think so, yeah. It's just one of those things. I think, if any one person is just not feeling it, it's almost like unspoken, really. Something just happens and things kind of just naturally wind themselves down. You kind of know the minute that Dom steps off his drum kit or Matt puts his guitar down that that's probably it for the day.
Yeah, let's go for a pint, lads.
Exactly, yeah. And it's good that way because it's not like we don't feel like we're working to the clock, which is it's not always the most creative way to work when you feel like you've got a week to record 12 tracks or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, are you a band when you're writing together where sort of the luxury of time? Can you kind of get lost in the moment? Because it sounds so detailed, your music. If you were to dissect it, I mean, it seems like there must be some degree of perfectionism in there somewhere. I mean, or do you just get on with it and go, no, you're taking it too far?
Well, it is very difficult because it's hard to know what too far is.
Yeah.
With any music, you can go on perfecting it forever.
Especially with you.
You can always make something better, or you can always feel like you're making something better. And I think that's usually something that happens towards the end, when you get to that sort of week or two before the songs are all being sent away to be mixed. And I think you start getting those kind of last minutes of doubt, where, is this good enough? Is it finished? And then everybody just loses the plot for about 2 weeks. And everyone starts thinking that everything's rubbish and you've got to do it again. And, sometimes you just have to remove yourself and you say, look, it's done. It was good 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. Leave it.
Danielle Perry.
Q Radio.
You've written songs and sung on this album, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
How did that feel? Was that a wonderful process to sort of go, right, this is my song, or this is my meaning, and was it that quite an important moment for you?
I think, to be honest, at the start, I mean, it's something I've always wanted to do, but I think to start with, it was more uncomfortable than anything.
Really?
But not through the other guys making it uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think it was just, for me, it was. I think every band, has somebody who takes the lead, and I think, usually that is the songwriter. And I think, obviously, in our case, that's usually been Matt. When we're in the studio and working on stuff, Matt's always been that strong character that's up front that kind of pulls it all together whilst we're trying to get the song together. And obviously this time, roles shifted.
Yeah.
And to do that 6 albums in is kind of an unusual move, really. And it was quite uncomfortable at first. I'd say, the first 2 or 3 run-throughs we did, I felt a little bit naked in the room.
Exactly.
Well, it was just strange because all of a sudden, it was, everyone sort of looking at me like, am I playing this right? And wanting this sort of approval from me, which is normally it's the other way around, And it was very strange, but I think after a few days, it very quickly became just like working on any other Muse track, really. And then obviously I had the painful process of having to actually sing it, because I think when I first took the songs to the band, it was talked about that maybe Matt would sing them,
Yeah.
And I think as time went on, the lyrics were obviously more personal to me, and I think Matt was quite keen to, have a bit of a break from singing for once. He's had to sing on every song we've ever done, and particularly from a live point of view, I think he's quite keen to just be a guitarist for a couple of songs and actually just enjoy the moment and take it in without all that pressure of playing the guitar and singing and playing the piano.
Speaking of sounds, like when I know that lots of people have jumped on the bandwagon, have suddenly said, oh, Muse have gone dubstep, they're a dubstep band, which is just hype, isn't it, and just blogs, and people haven't heard the record yet, really quick to judge. But there will be some new sounds on there, just from the trailer that we've heard, and just from tiny little snippets. Did you know how to generate those sounds before you started writing this record? Because, I mean, it is music and sounds and effects and pedals progressing all the time, isn't it? Did that organically come to you, or did you all have to seek it out and work it out again?
Yeah, I mean, I think we did have to do a lot of work on certain songs, because I'd say 90% of the stuff we do always starts life as a band song, There's bass, guitar and drums.
Yeah.
And, more often than not, that feels like it's enough, or maybe you have a bit of piano or some other overdubs going on. But that, most of the time, that's enough for the foundation of the song. And I think as you get deeper into the album, you start to realise that there's certain songs that maybe don't need to be a band song, that could go in other directions. And, I think there's a song on the album called Follow Me, which was one of those songs which we just felt maybe we should just push it completely different, and we went really electronic with it and pretty much stripped the band out of it, But then you have a song like Madness, which is the next single, which was always going to be electronic, and the band was a very kind of secondary thing in that song. And that was always the case, and that was a song that was built very much in the studio without us really playing anything. It was all synthesizers and programming, and that was something that we all had to kind of get our heads around a little bit. And like you say, technology evolves all the time, and I think that's why you see so many different scenes in electronic music, because every year there's a new piece of kit that comes out, or computer technology's moved on, and just the scope for new sounds is just moving on all the time, and that obviously interests us,
I can't get these memories out of my mind, and some kind of madness has started to evolve. I tried so hard to let you go, but some kind of madness is swallowing me whole. Yeah, I have finally realized what you mean. Now I need to know, is this real love, or is it just madness keeping us afloat? And when I look back at all the crazy fights we had, it's like some kind of madness was taking control. Yeah, and I have finally realized what you need.
is the new single from Muse called Madness, which is out now if you want to go and get that as well. So let's sum up then. Final thoughts from guitarist Chris.
We started life as a guitar band, and that's where we're comfortable. But I think at the same time we enjoy kind of embarrassing ourselves sometimes with new equipment and being there in the studio and not having a clue what to do, and you just... I think Adrian Bushby, who engineered this album, The Resistance, he came up with one of the best lines ever, and it was just like, I don't really know what I'm doing, I just twiddle knobs until it sounds good.
That's fair enough.
And I think that's what we do, you just... sometimes it doesn't matter what the science is behind things. You just mess around with stuff and you just experiment until you come up with something that you feel is right for the song, And
that's what painters do, isn't it? They mix paint until they get the right colour.
Exactly, yeah.
The final question I'm going to ask you, because I'm wary of time, I've been told I have to be very prompt, is I was just speaking to Dom and I said, obviously The Second Law is an album titled and thematically influenced by the second law of thermodynamics. I asked Dom, if you went on QI with Stephen Fry and he quizzed you on thermodynamics, do you reckon you could blag it?
I think so. I think we just about scraped through.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I might put that through as a pilot.
I'm sure Matt would be absolutely fine. Matt's read more about it than me, and obviously I've read, it's something that influenced his lyric writing, and obviously then we talked about it once we'd heard the lyrics, and then obviously me and Dom went away and read more about it, but. Obviously when Matt writes lyrics, it's not really something that we talk about before we make the album. More often than not, the first time I hear the lyrics is when Matt's actually recorded them.
Oh, really?
And the same for Dom, so we kind of go in and, it's all a surprise to us, which is quite nice.
Have you ever had any moments where you go, Matt, I don't like that line, a bit weird?
Well, no, not really. I mean, for me, it's, lyrics are such a personal thing. I mean, to say a line is wrong or right is to say that somebody's thought is wrong or right, and you shouldn't, everyone's entitled to have their own thoughts and their own feelings, and if you want to express that in words, it's not for somebody else to say, well, you can't say that, unless you're downright offending somebody, it's, and I don't think I've ever heard anything that he's saying which is in any way offensive yet.
Yet. Fabulous. Well, listen, it's so nice to speak with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Cool,
I'm so excited to hear the new record and to see it live. So thank you. I'll be at all the gigs, and I'll put this out on the magazine for Q as well. Okay.
Excellent, nice one.
Lovely. Take care. Safe travels. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks.
Okay. Bye. So there you have it, a window into the world of Muse and the new album, The Second Law. That's due for release on October 1st. The new single Madness you can get your hands on now as well. And make sure you get your live tickets too. They start off in Glasgow on the 24th of October, calling in at London on the 26th, 27th, Birmingham LG Arena, and finally Manchester on the 1st of November. This has been